Welcome to the Shiny Minds Show with Dr. Shiny. I am super excited to have Katerina Ambartsumyan in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Another Shiny Mind on our Shiny Minds Show.
Are you ready to shine? Come on, it's the shiny one.
You got this.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiny. I'm super excited and thank you for having me here. I was waiting for this moment. And if you said this back in 2019, that would be happening this day, I would be like, yeah, sure. This is something amazing.
I know, right? Like, would you ever think about that? Like
No.
2019. But yeah, that marks the date of our encounter, our cosmic galactic encounter with Katerina. Katerina, how did we meet, darling?
Well, that was transformational year actually of my life.
Mm.
Before, well, I was that person who would just, try to find everything, analyze everything. I was just, that I had my journey and I wanted to find something and explore myself.
Mm.
And I had a great actually journey. And as you know, that was not linear.
Yeah.
I would be here and there, and then studying this. And I actually got acquainted with the University of California in general back in 2010.
Boom.
That actually was the time when I fell in love with that university, and I was like, I gotta come back here and study more. And that was 2019 when I still remember those days when I was sitting here in Moscow and just choosing two programs to do at UCLA Extension. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, leadership communication strategies, that's something I need. And I looked through and you had your photo there smiling. I was like, okay, she's welcoming, she's friendly. I'm gonna pick that one. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Really?
Yes, yeah, I would definitely actually look at the photo of the instructor of the program. So
Mm.
that mattered too, really.
So you loved my smiley, welcoming
I
face?
did. I did.
Ooh.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting? Okay, so this is already an amazing introduction. So, dear Shiny Minds, whoever is watching or listening, this is so important because obviously, whatever we do, how we represent ourselves in the world, we kind of like, judge the book by its cover,
That's
right?
true. And it's totally fine, right? When people say, oh, you shouldn't judge the book by its cover. I mean, that's what we all do actually
Yeah.
at first glance. But
Yeah.
then obviously we got to go deeper. But first, yeah, that's what it is, right?
Oh my God, it is, obviously. And that's the
Yeah.
importance of having your photos very authentic and then very real, having a smiling photo and like welcoming vibe in your photo. I'm so glad to hear this. I don't think we ever talked about this part of how we met, Katerina. I love hearing this.
Yeah, that was like the first sign, like the first thing to like tick.
Think, well, done. She's good. And then, well,
Yeah.
obviously, the rest is, as you can understand, like she was my student at UCLA Extension that I have been teaching since 2012, the Leadership Communication Strategies class. And she was super good. Oh my goodness. So I want to hear the rest of our first meeting from you, Katerina, because obviously, from your perspective, it looks and it just also feels very different. So, how did you first meet me when I entered the room? Do you remember to share with
I
us?
remember, I truly remember everything.
Oh, please share.
I really remember everything. Okay. And I remember that actually our first meeting was online. You
Was
showed up. You showed up on camera first. And then, yes, that's what I remember.
oh really? That I
Yes.
don't remember. Tell me.
That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was, you were supposed to fly from Istanbul to us or from some other city.
Uh-huh.
There was something like that because I remember watching you and you were sharing, and that was my first time seeing you. I mean, in live, but through the video.
Ah, okay. Even like we met on campus at the UCLA Extension campus. Like this is happening online.
that happened first. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't know why I have it in my memory.
Okay.
That's interesting. But I remember the first day when you entered the classroom.
Oh yeah. Okay. Would you like
Yes.
to share? I am
And
so
I
curious.
remember the fact that we had a big class. That was a pretty big class.
Yeah.
And I remember once you entered, that's actually coming from the energy of the person.
Mhm.
You were wearing a dress, a suit, and like a suit and heels.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
And I remember like your confident step into class
Mhm.
when you entered. And like once you entered, that was the energy actually that you brought. And just like in a second, you brought the whole attention of the class.
Ooh.
Yes, I truly remember that. I was like super excited. You know how I felt that time?
Hmm.
Like I was sitting and there was a person, like a speaker on the stage. Like we were all watching, not just like a regular class. That was something different, really.
Wow.
That
Wow.
was interesting. That different, completely different feeling, different from other classes.
I definitely need to give you some more just right now. Like we never talked about these things. This is
Yeah,
so cool.
that's so interesting. Like I'm gonna share now, and I just realized that I got so excited now and curious to hear from your perspective, like how it happened, like why would it be me? And even when you said like she was amazing, I'm like, what exactly was amazing? I just started being curious about that.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me just go through that first, just from
Yes,
my perspective, just sharing all of that.
please.
So, well, what actually fully made me fall in love with the program and just I don't know, with every single cell of me to dive into that is that it was not just a program that gives you theory or gives you just rules or things like that's what you should do to
Mm.
become a leader.
Yeah.
That was actually from a completely different angle. That was looking looking at yourself from inside and exploring yourself. And then I realized that, oh my God, that's what I needed. That's what I needed. And there was even in this leadership communication strategy program, there was a pinch of NLP.
Oh
You
yeah.
would go deep into that, but there was a pinch of NLP. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, what is that? What ingredient is she using in this program?
Yes,
A
yes.
secret ingredient that she's using. And I remember your book that we were reading, and I loved it because it was not just a book, but it was something about learning about yourself.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
shine your star.
Yeah.
It was like about yourself, first of all. And when I was reading, you know what I started feeling?
Oh my God, I want to hear. Super
I
curious.
mentioned, if I mentioned, but I definitely talked to my mom and I would just tell her, I was like, Mom, that's so weird. But like when I'm reading this is like kind of biography as well, right?
It is, yeah.
True
That, yeah.
biography. And I'm like, why do I feel so close to this person? I really couldn't explain. I was like, there are just too many things that I feel her. Like I totally get what it is about because it touches me too. That was so interesting, really. And that actually also created some sort of trust in me to open up. And when we were doing this homework, like assignments, and that was all about self-exploration.
Oh
So
yeah.
when we were doing that, I felt so safe, to open up. Even though like I knew that you were gonna read it, right? But I
Oh yeah.
can't, yeah, guess what? I didn't even think about it.
Oh my God.
I was just sitting with my paper and writing or my computer and typing. Like
Wow.
that's how I felt.
Mm.
That was really beautiful.
All
And
those assignments that I gave you inside my book. That's what she's
yeah,
talking about, by the way, for those of you who are
exactly.
wondering what's going on. My class at UCLA Extension was really a personal development class more than a professional development class. And I can actually show on screen, this is how it looked like. You literally needed to fill in these places, like these blanks inside the book. And the assignments, like weekly assignments that they would get graded, are these exercises inside my book. And those exercises are asking nothing but their gifts, their mission, their galactic, right? They're even your galactic mission statement, your purpose,
Exactly.
your gifts.
That made you think. You would be like, that would actually put you, like, you would find yourself be stuck.
Ah,
Like, okay, let me think about it.
yeah.
They
Mm.
were like deep questions there.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like let's say I would start typing something and then was like, no, 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 there is something more. And then deleting again. Okay, no, this is kind of, you started exploring yourself and your values and beliefs and wishes and everything. You're like, you're calling, trying to find the calling, right?
Yeah.
And trying to
Yeah.
find
Calling.
yourself there. And you would literally prioritize, you know, just go upward and upward and step by step finding this truth in yourself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that is actually now, it's so funny. That's the instructor in me. Dear Shiny Minds, do you remember the 7 C's of a leader that I was teaching?
I still have my copybook actually because I would write everything by hand. And I still have this copybook and I have every single word you would just write or say. I would literally write everything. I was that nerdy student.
Oh, yeah, you were. And that's why you noticed, like, that's why I noticed you. And then I was like, okay, she's special. You had your own magical vibe about you. And then I actually noticed that. And before I go there, do you want to list all those 7 C's?
Oh my God.
It starts with consciousness,
Consciousness, confidence,
confidence, calling. That's what you're
calling, right? Calling,
calling,
commitment.
commitment to the calling.
Yeah.
Exactly. The fifth one,
What was that?
control. Because if you commit too
Control. Oh
much,
my God.
then yeah,
Yes.
there needs to be self-control.
Control.
Control. Five. Okay, two more.
Now
Look at us.
what?
Look at us. I'm just like quizzing you. The last two is charisma and contribution.
Right. Charisma. I love this one actually. I
Right?
loved, yes. And I remember the games we did and the quizzes and discussions we did around that topic,
Oh
charisma.
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the presentation that you all did at
Oh,
the
the
end of the
final
class.
presentation. Yes.
Oh my God. That's when I fell in love with you. I mean, I have been already like noticing you in my class, and I have been wondering, what is it about her? Like something about her is just so different. Obviously, you said it was a big class. I think it was like 30
Yeah.
people or like
That's what I'm
33.
curious about.
Mm.
What was different that you could feel that?
Your vibe, your energy, and your openness. I sense energy. I really do.
That's what I where I wanted to go to.
Mhm. I,
Energy.
I sense energy. I am a double Pisces. And in my human design, I actually have that part of me. I'm not going to go into details, that I can actually tune into the energy around me and I can actually feel it. And that makes me a very intuitive, like highly intuitive, highly sensitive human being. And that's how I felt. I knew that it was something different. But when you also made your presentation, the way that you were delivering your message, the way that you were sharing your story, the way that you were open, the way that you were connecting with others in the class, and also the charisma that you have. Obviously, it's a part of it, right? I was like, now you learned all the 7 C's, demonstrate all of them as a leader, right? So I was expecting a charismatic delivery in the class. And then there you go with your like, you have the poise, and then you have this vibe about you. You're very articulate, the way that you talk very neatly. And I loved your tonality. I loved the way that you were very
Oh,
clear. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that's so good. I'm like,
Like, tell me more.
tell me, tell me more.
She's a great presenter. This is a great style of communication. I can actually sit down and listen to her. And that is always obviously my benchmark, right? If I
Yeah.
can sit down and if I enjoy listening to you, hearing and learning from you,
Yeah.
that's a done deal. And that was
Yeah.
it for me. Not only the energy and your openness and your vibe, and obviously you got an A plus from me, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Not
did.
not only have this great vibe, it's not only that, it's a combination of so many different things, right? You're not only that, but you're also super intelligent. You are obviously very, good student. You got the A plus, and you are very presentable. And your communication style, your influential leadership, and your storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you were actually, there is one thing as you started talking about this delivering the presentation. As I'm also a teacher, I'm an educator,
That's
right?
right. Yeah, we never talked about your background actually. Please
Yes.
introduce
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah, we will
Katerina.
get back to it, but like there is one thing that I wanted to highlight actually, what I learned from you when I was at UCLA Extension as your student.
Mhm.
So I remember when you were giving feedback to us after
Mm.
every single presentation.
Mhm,
That
mhm,
was so structured and deep and in a very pleasant way, that you would actually accept it. You
mhm,
would always say, this was perfect, great. You would just appraise, and then you would give what could be done better.
yeah.
And then, yes, no but, right?
No, but
No, nothing, yes, no but. What could be done better? And you actually perceive it differently.
oh yeah,
You take
that's
this
so true.
information differently. And you're like, you just literally start analyzing and just thinking, oh, actually, yeah, maybe like I should pay attention to this part or that part.
That is so important because how many people lack the skill of giving feedback,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
right?
A hundred
Right? How
percent.
many people just like go direct into your core wound that you bring your child from your childhood, and then you
Yes.
don't even know what's going on, and then boom, they just like put salt into your your scar, and
Yeah,
then
unfortunately, it happens a lot. It
yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a lack of self-control. And like we also teach that now. Okay, now I actually want you to just properly please introduce yourself to everybody because we we just like jumped into how we met at
I
UCLA
know.
Extension. Ladies and gentlemen, Katerina is one of our coach educators at the Academy of Neuro-Shine Technology. As a matter of fact, she's actually right in the middle of the cohort that she is teaching. So please introduce yourself properly, Katerina, so everybody gets to know you.
I'm a teacher, a lecturer at the university here in Moscow. It's a financial university under the government of the Russian Federation. And there I teach international business communication in English,
Boom.
which is amazing, which is also all about communication. And
Right.
what's beautiful, I always incorporate all of this, coaching skills and NLP skills, NST skills in my um, teaching
Yeah.
method.
Yeah.
So, apart from that, obviously, as our Dr. Shiny said, I'm a member of the faculty and ICF coach,
Mm.
accredited ICF coach, which is amazing. And this is an honor for me. It's just a big gift actually to lead a cohort because that's what I started doing, and I was really waiting for that time, for that moment to start doing that.
Mm.
And right in the beginning, like before we started the show, we were just talking that that's something I realized that I can do it again and again, again and again, and I'm not going to get tired of that.
Yeah, this is something that is just like so fulfilling. You
Yes.
you you don't know what you don't know until you just like hit record on that very first Zoom class that you deliver, and after that you're hooked.
Yes. That's so true.
You're
That's so
hooked. Creating change and transformation and witnessing growth in people and how they transform inside out. And then how you are a part of that delicious co-creation. It is so blissful.
Yes, this is a completely different that I really love the word that you said, fulfilling. This is
Mhm.
really fulfilling. This is something that gives so much energy to you. And
Mhm.
you don't even feel tired after the class. You feel
Yeah.
fulfilled. You feel like I like right after the class, I was like, that was actually 10 p.m. here.
Oh,
And I was like, I have too much energy. I gotta do something,
run.
I gotta run, burn my energy.
You go galactic with it. That's it. Like it energizes you when
It does. It
yeah,
does,
you
definitely.
do that. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who are wondering how we went from Katerina being a student sitting in my leadership class at
Oh yeah.
UCLA Extension in 2019, and now fast forward 2025, she's actually delivering oh my God, this wow, look what we're
Yeah,
talking
and I
about.
remember like every single step, like being a student. And then when you literally just picked me, you were like, Katerina, you're gonna come to do my program. That was NST, right? And NLP. That's where I started from. And I
Yeah,
started doing that. That
yeah.
was on, that was offline. And I was literally doing all together.
Oh yeah.
I'm a nerd. I love when I have a lot of studying, a lot
Yes.
of classes.
Yes.
But that experience was so different.
It
That
was.
experience just completely changed everything. And that was the time when I realized, if you remember, I told you that I had a feeling back then, before I started doing all of that, I had a feeling that yes, I love teaching, I love what I'm doing, but there is something missing. There is something more. I could sense it, that there was something more, but I couldn't find. I didn't know what it was. And then once I started doing NLP and NST, I started getting, I just had this aha moment actually. And I realized, oh my God, that's what I was looking for. That's where I feel so home.
Oh, what a feeling.
Yes, that was beautiful. That's like I felt this joy inside. That was amazing.
Wow. This is
Yes.
oh,
And then I did level one, ACC Path level one. Then I did level two as well.
and then level three, like
And level three, and I flew the whole way to Miami and then again to Miami.
exactly twice.
Yes, that was beautiful. Oh my God. And just being a member of Neuro-Shine Academy,
Yeah.
it means a world, really. This is the top.
Same here, my beautiful Katerina. I do remember the day we had that conversation in my car in Los Angeles.
You remember that? Oh
I
my
do.
God, I remember it so well. We were driving from NLP to
Yes.
the class at UCLA, right?
And it was just like such a spiritual moment when I was like getting to
Mhm.
know you at another level. In that moment, I felt it. Remember, you were asking, like, how do I pick? How do I know? Right? I actually knew in that moment that she's going to teach my Neuro-Shine technology in Russia.
Wow.
Like, I knew it right in that moment. And then I told you that. I said,
I
you know
remember.
what? I told you that. Yeah. It was like, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. Like, this is,
Yes, I remember my feeling. You know what I was having inside that moment?
what?
I was like, wow, that sounded too cool for me. And
Oh,
I was like, wow, that would be awesome. But
mm,
I can't say that I truly believed it
oh
would
yeah.
happen.
Too good to be true, huh?
Yes, too good to be true. I was like, well, it sounds amazing, but well,
Do I
not
have
sure
what it
it's gonna
takes?
ever happen.
I know. I can totally relate because I've had exactly the same thoughts, the same doubts in my mind. Oh, can I make that happen? Just, I'm just putting it out there, but
I just
yeah,
I just said it. Like the words just came out.
exactly. I mean, I don't even have like the structure for it. but I know I wanted.
Yeah, that was actually the inner voice, this intuition, the
Yeah.
sense that you had that said,
Yep, yep. That's how we manifest. All right. You're
yeah,
shining lights who are watching, who are listening. That's called manifestation. That is called,
yes.
I believe, the law of attraction. That is how I also listed and talk in my book, right? As part of my metaphysical
Mhm.
studies. It's so great. So we had that intention. So when you really truly put your intention so clearly into that quantum field, it just lends so deeply. And the universe is like, your wish is my command.
Yes,
And here we are. Here we are. She
exactly.
she goes from my leadership student to teaching our coaching students right now. She is about to certify the next generation of coaches.
Oh my God, that feels so
Like,
so proud, so proud, really.
I know, right? Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
by the way, shall we also talk about our learnings and lessons? There are so many people who are running into obstacles and barriers, and then oh, I couldn't do it, I failed, and then they stop, and then I am not good enough, and then they stop. Would you like to share some of your experiences of like what you experienced and then how you just overcame all those?
Yes, and that's actually I think there is a bunch of things that I would just use the wrong words
Mm,
saying and just talking about myself or like about my trials.
mm,
And due to this wrong words, because of these wrong words, I would just not feel enough, I would not feel enough powerful, and I would not complete something because the wording was wrong. So that's something that we learn to do, right?
all
It's
right.
important what what message you put inside.
Yeah, the
And
programming.
the programming, exactly. And that's the words you use not only when communicating with the others, but
Yeah,
first of all, with yourself,
with yourself.
right? Because everything starts from ourselves.
Oh, yeah. That is a huge learning, and that is a huge message that we would love to share with you. If you are talking to yourself with a negative language, and if you are wondering like why things are not happening, well, let's start right there. And like because in your language, with the language, you dictate your reality, that you literally create your reality with the words that you use. So that's why you want to perhaps like pause and do a language audit. I'm so excited and passionate about doing a language audit. Like, how are you talking to yourself? If you just listened to yourself in the whole 24 hours, minus the part that you're sleeping, obviously.
Well, you would never know.
Okay, exactly. Perhaps even then, what would you hear from yourself? Isn't that a great way to approach,
It
Katerina?
is
Right?
actually analyzing everything and hearing from the side, listening to yourself from the side,
Yeah,
right? Just listening
yeah,
to yourself.
yeah.
Because only then we start analyzing. Why? Because this is some kind of autopilot mode.
Hmm.
We say a lot of things just because we're programmed that way, right? We
Yeah,
say this because that's the program we have.
yeah,
And it's not because probably we think that way, but just because we're used to use these words.
yeah.
And that's a habit already.
And then it's like so unconscious. For example, from
It is.
my own beginning, when I was in my corporate world back in Istanbul, I remember there was a time going after one career after one career. I mean, it's the same career, it's advertising and marketing, but and then it wouldn't stick. I remember like I would work in an advertising agency within a year, like I'm in another agency. Either they just like fire me, I'm like, okay, I don't like it, I'm gonna go. Like it was like that for, I believe, 6, 7, 8 years. Like one
Wow.
after the other, one after the other. And then guess what it makes you feel? Something is wrong with me. I
Exactly.
started asking this question to myself, what is wrong with me? I'm getting goosebumps. And
Yeah,
that was when I realized, I'm talking about language audit. That is when I realized I was asking the wrong question. Whatever you ask yourself, you shall receive.
exactly.
So I was getting the answers to all the reasons what might be wrong with me.
And you would find so many things, right?
Oh, check, check, check. Oh, yeah, I do that. So then you end up becoming a part of a problem that you are stuck in and you're defined by. No wonder why you cannot get out of it. No wonder why you don't get the results that you want in your life. No wonder why you don't understand, like, why things are not happening for you because you're asking the wrong questions. So,
Exactly.
right? So,
Yes. Yes.
because you're also teaching, obviously, communication, negotiation, like business, right? What is your favorite thing to teach as part of communication, negotiation, or business communication? Really makes your heart, I can't wait to talk about this.
I think I truly love talking about values, beliefs, and how it is connected with the communication. So
Mm,
that's literally about potato head, right? And communication components, like yes, what's going on, and about this, how it works,
mm,
why it happens, this, why we react. I really love talking about this interaction and our reaction and emotions,
mm,
why and where it's coming from, and
mhm.
how we can analyze and explore ourselves in order to be able to be a good communicator with the others.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once you study yourself, you're actually gonna kind of catch yourself from time to time being a potato hat as well, right? It happens. But when you have these tools, when you know where it's coming from, how it works in our brain, right? This is like a part of NLP and NST.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
I love teaching.
You want to also mention what is the potato head? Now everybody is wondering, like, what
I
is
know. I was waiting for it, like, Katerina, you didn't mention that. Potato hat is that
potato
person
head?
always judgmental. I'm being a potato head, like everybody knows. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. This is that person who thinks that always knows everything, who judges, assumes, right? Who is always right, who never wants to hear any other advice,
Perspectives. Yeah.
perspectives. Like, I'm always right,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And then
That's
you're,
the potato head.
I'm right.
And
And
I'm
then
the
you're always right.
smartest. Yes, and the others are always wrong. They're like always arguing with everyone, right?
If anybody is feeling like, oh, that is me, we
Yeah.
we hear you. That's where it all begins.
Nice. This is like a very, I would say, like sharp introduction of potato head, right?
Indeed.
Like the worst type of potato head.
Which would be my mom, when I started working with her, back in 2013. She was never wrong. I'm like, really? Like, seriously, I was like fascinated. I'm like, how could you even like think that you can be right about every single thing in life? Like, how?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
every single person have their own,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love teaching, because when I start teaching that, I literally see in the eyes of the people this like, oh my God.
Mm.
And they start actually um studying themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that you actually start uh you don't start exploring and on trying to scan the other person and your the person you're talking to, right? Your
Right.
interlocutor. It's not about that, because you start from yourself, and then you actually having all of this knowledge and tools and instruments and everything. You catch yourself sometimes just being a victim of this potato hat, like feeling this potato hat is took over you, your emotions and everything, right? And
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely. Yeah.
That's even I sometimes just talking, I'm like, okay, stop, literally stopping myself, and I'm like, okay, this is my truth, but it
Uh,
doesn't mean this is this person's truth,
Boom.
right?
Yeah. That,
And when I teach this, and it already starts transforming people, and
yeah.
it's something deep, I believe, like very deep. That's why when you said like when you feel, oh my God, I'm gonna talk about it,
Yeah.
that's how I feel when I have to teach this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love hearing that, Karina, because this is exactly the path to becoming a shiny mind. Shiny mind obviously means in our language is an enlightened mind. A grateful heart and a curious mind is what makes somebody a shiny mind. And it all begins by accepting your a potato head, right? Like you are coming from a place of unconsciousness and you are unaware of what is going on until you become aware. But guess what? Once you're aware, then it is never the problem anymore because after awareness, there comes the willingness in our formula for change, right?
Yes.
So awareness multiplied by willingness. That's it. There you go. You're free. And we gotta also tell you, it's uncomfortable. Growth
It
is
is.
very uncomfortable. Facing your shadows, facing the fact that, oh my God, I was wrong. It's one of the hardest things that people can actually accept. Like this is I can tell you like 15 years into teaching, what I have been teaching, one of the hardest things to do for every human being, for any human being, whoever you are, it doesn't matter. One of the hardest things to do is to say, yeah, I was wrong. I'm wrong. It's so hard, but yet so simple,
It is.
right?
Yeah, it is. There is one thing actually I just remembered, and I wanted to mention that's something that I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I stopped saying I don't know every single time.
Oh my God, this is something that we have been working with you. Yes.
Yes, because you actually said that. You were like, Katerina, have you noticed that you say I don't know all
Yes.
the time?
Yeah. Language
Right?
audit, darling. Language audit.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would literally say, I don't know. And that's what we had actually, that's what we were discussing actually
Mm,
this week with our coaches,
mm,
that there are two reasons why we may say, I don't know.
mhm.
It's, well, actually, we should all know that it's not because we truly don't know. We know everything. We have all the answers inside.
Yes.
But when we say, I don't know, the first reason is either we are just, our neurons are like super lazy to move. And they're like, it's easier to say, I don't know. I don't want to go there. And I don't want to move. Right? That means we need to give some exercise to our neurons. The second reason is it just feels more comfortable and safe to
Yeah.
say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably there is something you don't want to face and acknowledge and admit, right? And you're like, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And with certain things that I had recently, when I was saying I don't know all the time, I realized that I just didn't want to face certain things.
Oh, Neuro-Shine moment, ladies and gentlemen. Neuro-Shine
Yay.
breakthrough in the house. Hold up. I want to just congratulations. It's remote.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was
I
that?
was, mm?
What was that you didn't want to face if you want to share?
Okay. What it was, I think I didn't want to face the fact that this is very complicated. Okay. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get it. This
Okay.
is super complicated. Okay.
Super curious now.
So a part of me went to the victim mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Oh,
I would be like, oh, this is not enough. I'm not enough. And I would just complaining about myself to myself, like, this is not this. This is not, no, it doesn't work. I can't do this. Why I didn't want to go there? Because I didn't want to admit that. I didn't want to admit that I was in a victim mode. You know what I mean?
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
no.
Oh yeah.
I'm not there. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I'm good. I'm a coach. I'm
Mm,
not there.
oh yeah. How
That
dare.
was like a double thing, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Like that's the power trap. I am very familiar with it. I mean,
Really?
somebody as I mean, I'm a Wonder Woman, yeah?
Yes. I
How
know.
hard was it? How hard was it for me to face my own shadows? Like, yeah, darling, I totally hear you. I connect with you right there at that deep place.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Connection.
yeah, because
Connection.
we go.
You see, we use the same emoji.
Yeah.
There is a connection. There is a true connection.
That's what Neuro-Shine Technology does to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. You literally emerge,
Exactly. And then
merge together.
And then it gets easier once you start teaching. Now you got to rise up to another level of responsibility, radical responsibility. Once you start teaching, you're level up, you're leveling up, you're leveling up, your ascension accelerates, and then there is no room to escape anymore. You just got to face yourself.
That's true. That's true. And
Yeah.
this is like a side effect, right?
Yeah.
This is a side effect.
So
You
many.
can't, it's just inevitable.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
inevitable that you're like, you know what? Let me just be super brutally honest with myself because I'm teaching you and I have integrity. So I gotta like face my own truth first, face my own shadows first. And then I gotta actually like be the leader, be the change I want to see in the world. And I want to share how I experienced it so that I can give you unconscious, unsolicited permission that makes you feel like it's okay to admit your shortcomings, your flaws, because we're kind of like imperfect and that's okay. All of a
Yes.
sudden, now you hold such a deep space for everybody to just fall. And it's a
Yes.
beautiful, soft place to fall and finally say, wow, I am seen, heard, and still appreciated with all my imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still okay to have flaws and to be accepted?
Mm-hmm.
What a concept.
Yes. Yes. Having this safe place, like a pillow,
Mm.
that I think this is something that every single person on this planet needs now,
Mm.
right? Because all the people have this in mind, like, oh, people are gonna judge, people are gonna this, people are gonna that. And at the same time, you judge yourself. There is just too much. And once you find this super safe place and this environment, you're like, oh wow, that it exists,
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna be
right?
judged.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is the world that we want to see and we actually take the lead to become first. Dear
Yeah.
Shiny Minds, if you would love to join us in the vision that we want to create, that's how it is. That's how it looks like. It looks like a place of like full authenticity and full honesty, no judgments. You're just who you are. Come as who you are and feel safe, seen, heard, and appreciated no matter where you are, because there's always a beginning. And in the world that we live in 2025, I know and feel, and also since I have studied from my metaphysical researches, we are in a time of awakening. That awakening is actually empowering us to have the freedom to accept ourselves. We are rising up to a new level of freedom that is actually ready to shed the layers of our old programming, the old paradigm, like how it used to be, how everything was so different, how the society knew everything, how the society told us what to do, what to believe, what to say, how to live. It's gone bye bye. Now we are just waking up to a whole new paradigm. And then we are co-creating this new paradigm as we are awakening to this new paradigm within ourselves. And that is also why I'm getting goosebumps. Ooh, I love it when I have goosebumps. And that is also why when we become the change maker, when we become the leader of this new paradigm, when we become this vulnerable leader, this vulnerable soul who is totally okay to go within and say, you know what, I was wrong. I apologize. I did wrong. I judged you. I criticized you. I told you things that I was actually telling myself because I constantly judge myself. I constantly criticize myself. Oof,
Yeah.
that's the world we live in. And we are changing it one
We
person
are
at a time.
realizing that you're a part of that and you are like a small cause of that.
Mm,
That makes you feel so good. You're like, oh my God, I'm doing for the better.
yes.
I have this positive impact
Mm,
on lives, right?
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah. That's how you know that, oh my God, this was a great day, right?
Yes, exactly. You feel so good. You feel so much light inside. You're like, oh my God, I did good because I brought some light. Yeah.
Enlightenment. I brought some light, enlightenment. I just, co-created some shiny minds in the world.
Yes. Yes.
That cosmic self-illumination, that cosmic light within us, it just needs to shine, just needs to shine. So I think that's a beautiful place to just end this delicious conversation. Do you have any
It
parting
is.
words
It
to
was like a cherry on top,
cherry
right?
on top moment? I felt like, yeah. Do you have any
Mhm.
parting words to share with our shiny minds to be?
Well, what I would love to say is that whenever there is something that inside, like your voice, your inner voice says, it's important to listen to yourself.
Mm,
It's important to rely and listen to your intuition.
mm,
It's important to remember that fear is okay. And even if you want to start something new in your life,
mhm.
just go for that.
Yeah.
And remember the formula: willingness, awareness,
Yep.
multiplied awareness is the change, right?
Yeah.
And just to remember that there is this highest vibration. And this highest vibration actually we get when we do great for ourselves and for the world.
Boom.
It
Yes.
cannot be only for us, it's for the world, right? So when we bring this enlightenment, when we share and radiate our light from inside,
Mm,
that imagine what happens. There is more light around us. And other, it's some kind of touching the next person, touching this, and the light becomes more and more and more and more. That's what coaching is about. That's what it is about.
yeah.
And yeah, just become a part of this big family. And this is a family. I would call it a
Ah,
family, right?
yes. Yeah.
Would be, I don't know, one of the best choices in the world.
Oh, yeah. She is actually telling the truth. Everyone who's watching or listening to us, it is a family of change makers,
Yes.
visionaries. You
Oh my
are,
God, I love how it sounds. A family of
yeah.
makers.
Do you hear? Have you sound? Do you hear yourself? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yes. We should actually write it down with this expression. We gotta use it later.
oh, it's written. Absolutely. It's in you. It's written in your soul.
Yes.
So that's that. She said, listen to the inner voice and come join us in our faculty and become a part of our cosmic galactic mission to shine
Yes.
your light on others.
Yay.
So, by the way, she is as part of the Academy of Neuro-Shine Technology. She is teaching Neuro-Shine Technology program level 1. If you want to learn from Katerina, if you want to join her cohorts, please go ahead and go to my website. As you know, shinynewsell.com, there's actually a free PDF guide that you can download, and then you can just like start exploring. You don't have to decide right away. We understand that it might take time. Just get the free guide, start exploring, and then if you have any questions, come talk to us. All right. And then if you like this episode, please put a like on it, share it with your friends. Let's make this world a brighter place together. Right, Katerina?
Perfectly said.
Yeah, we want to make this world a better place, and we want you to subscribe. You want to subscribe to this channel because this is only going to make your life a brighter life, a more
Yes.
positive, a more conscious, a more shiny life. And that's what we are inviting you to do. And we thank you for watching, for just joining us in this episode. And thank you, Katerina. Thank you so much for.
Thank you too, Shiny. That was pleasure. That was amazing. Thank you
Ah,
for
yes, it was my pleasure. And
enjoyed so much. Oh my God.
me too. Me too. This was so beautiful. What a completion we had after so many years. I love that. So, dear shiny minds to be, until next time, keep shining your light. Bye.
Wanna go galactic. Go galactic.
Go galactic.
Then you're in the right place. Let's go, let's go.